This meeting of the Richlands Town Council will now come to order. Please let us stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, again we thank you for this opportunity to meet tonight to conduct the business for the town of Richlands and all those that we affect. We pray for your guidance and your wisdom. We pray for the contentment and the joy of our citizens. And we pray, we're thankful for this beautiful spring that you have provided for us regularly and without fail. We're grateful for all the blessings that you give us, those we recognize easily and those we sometimes overlook. We pray for your guidance and wisdom. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Council, you should have before you our agenda, and we're now on Roman numeral 4, additions or deletions to the agenda. At this time, I will ask, is there anyone present in council chambers who would like to speak under unscheduled public comments? It's a 3-minute period. Yes, Morgan? Okay. Please have Morgan up. Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am. I can't. Your name, please? Erica Galloway. Thank you. Okay, anyone else who would like to speak under unscheduled public comments? Okay. Erica Galloway. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, additions, deletions to the agenda. Town Manager Jason May asked me to move, if you'll please look on the back, under N, Town Manager Report. He asked us to move Public Works Director to D under Roman numeral 4. So right after the Richlands Women's Club recognition, Jason will address the Public Works Director. Thank you. Are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda? Susan, does he have a full agenda? His is front. Okay. Thank you.
I have an extra one because
Got it.
He's got it.
lost mine.
Got it.
Yeah.
It was good another thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, I was just going by what was in the package.
That's right. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Okay, any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing no other additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Laura makes the motion. Is there a second? And Gary makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion? May we have a roll call vote, please, Amanda?
Okay, Gary?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
And Laura?
Yes.
It carries. It is unanimous. Thank you, council. Next, under Roman numeral 4, we have an authorization to pay the bills. And council, if you will look, we have 2 sets of bills here we can pay. Okay. Are there any questions regarding the payment of our bills? Anyone? Council? Anyone with questions regarding the authorization to pay the bills? Hearing no questions, is there a motion to authorize the manager to pay the bills?
So moved.
Jan makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And Rick makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion? There being no discussion, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Gary?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
And Laura?
Yes.
Thank you. It is unanimous. Town manager, you can pay the bills. Thank you. Next, we have minutes. We have the minutes of April the 9th, the regular scheduled meeting of April the 16th, 2024 special called meeting, April 23rd, 2024 special call meeting, and April 30th, 2024 special called meeting. Are there any questions regarding these minutes?
I'll make the motion to accept all of them.
Okay. Okay. Rick makes the motion to affirm all of these minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Laura makes a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Okay, Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Dan, and
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion carries. Thank you, council. It is unanimous. Now, we have the distinct privilege and honor this evening to recognize the Richlands Women's Club. And I'll take just a moment to tell you why they're on the agenda. We have numerous, several civic groups here in this town who do a lot of good, untold good. We don't always recognize it, but recently, and I would ask that the members correct me if I make a mistake, please. Recently, the Richlands Women's Club celebrated its 92nd birthday. And if I'm not mistaken, I have a letter here from Debbie Dameron, their president, that I would like to read. I think it is the oldest existing civic group in Richlands. Is that correct? That deserves some praise and some recognition. We're so grateful for all that you do, ladies, and have done. So I would like to take just a moment to read this letter that Debbie sent to me, and it describes some of what the Women's Club does. So if you'll bear with me, thank you very much. The Richlands Women's Club, organized in 1931, became a federated club in April 1932. It was the first civic organization formed in Richlands, preceding the Rotary Club by several years. The club was started by 17 charter members and has been led by 29 presidents. Most of the presidents served more than one term in office. In 1940, a junior women's club was organized and sponsored by the Richlands Women's Club. As the junior women's club continued to grow, an intermediate women's club developed in 1948. By 1971, Richlands had 3 well-established federated women's clubs in town for women of all ages. However, by 1994, only one club remained for all ages of women, the GFWC, Richlands Women's Club. Always motivated by the motto, achievement is worthy of the effort. The club has been proud of the continued interest shown by its members in all projects undertaken by the local, state, and national federations. This historical information was provided by Mrs. Carol Lee Wolf. Today, the GFWC, Richlands Women's Club, supports many worthwhile community projects. The club donates monthly to several organizations. They provide supplies and monetary donations to the Care Center, the Infant Mission and Tazewell County Women's Domestic Violence Shelter. The members complete several projects in our local schools. They read to the students at Richlands Elementary and Cedar Bluff Elementary during Read Across America Week. They provide cookies to all 4 schools for Teacher Appreciation Week and deliver coffee pods in cases of water to all the schools for the American Education Week. The club presented library books and a banner to the Richlands Elementary School during the Anti-Bullying Week. The club prepares desserts for the Gold Star families, picnic sponsored by the VFW Casey Short Post. They provide cookies for the Cedar Bluff concert, Christmas in Our Town. The members manned the information booth at the Cedar Bluff Heritage Festival and distributed heart-healthy pins at their table during the Winter Honey Festival. The club participated in a National Day of Service. This project was completed throughout the country. The club decided to sponsor a canned food drive with the help of the Richlands High School Key Club. The The members collected all the food and presented the canned goods along with a club monetary donation to the Good Samaritan Food Pantry. The club donates to St. Jude's, Project Graduation, the RAHS Model General Assembly students, provides a scholarship to an RHS senior girl, makes bows for the library story walk, provides needed supplies to Legacy Hospice and palliative care. The GFWC Richlands Women's Club continually strives to make a difference in the lives of other people. The members want to help make our community a great place to live. And we can assure you, I'm speaking on behalf of the council, everyone in this town, you do make a difference. And as I was saying, some of these things are very visible, and sometimes really quiet actions go unnoticed but not unappreciated. And we are very appreciative of your work. Before we go further, I would like to read just a few things that were sent to me about the role of the Women's Club that has a national and international impact. And I did a little personal research, and I found that our club, our local organization, participated in all of these initiatives for people in our country to have a better life. So while we work here for our local community, we also are working on the national scene to improve the lives of others. These are not in order, but I'll just read some of these. The GFWC, which is the Federation, help me out. General Federation? Okay, General Federation Women's Clubs, thank you, supported legislation for the 8-hour workday, workplace safety and inspection, and workmen's compensation. They also supported prison reform legislation, and this is on a national scale, and our local club participated in that. Next. I think it's just unbelievable what we do, and this is our community volunteering their time. Having founded over 474 free public libraries and 4,655 traveling libraries, women's clubs were accredited by the American Library Association of establishing 75% of America's public libraries. Supporting local libraries continues to be a Federation priority today. The GFWC, member Alice Lakey, who, by the way, we study in history, spearheaded a letter and telegram writing campaign which was essential to the passage of the Pure Food and Drug Act. Dr. Harvey Wiley, the first chief of the Pure Food Bureau, attributed the bill's passing to GFWC and stated, "Trust them to put the ball over the goal line every time." And how many times do we refer to and defer to the Pure Food and Drug Administration? Thank you. And thank you to the national group. Here we go. The GFWC unanimously passed a resolution against child labor with the help of clubwoman Jane Addams, who founded Hull House in Chicago. Child labor became a major area of concern for the Federation. In 1901, Adams headed the Federation's Child Labor Committee to work for the maintenance and improvement of child labor laws. And by the way, she was a recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, first woman, American woman to receive it. And with that, there are so many more things that we could tell about this club. But I would ask if there's anyone in the club who would like to say anything on behalf of the club, please feel free. Debbie, you're the president. Would you like to say anything? Please stand up. It's fine. Well,
I just want to thank the town council and the mayor for allowing us to be here tonight and for giving us this honor. It is we really appreciate being recognized for the things that we do, but we don't do them for that. We do them for the betterment of our community. And you see us out and about and you want to help, or if any of you ladies would like to join a good organization, we'd be more than happy to have you in our club. And we do thank you.
thank you very much, Debbie. Thank you. It is our honor. And I would ask if you'll come forward, we would like to get your picture. Is that okay? Thank you. Come on up, ladies. And we'll be with you. We'll stand down here, and then we'll get you up here, okay?
Where are we going?
We'll just stand to one side and get them, and then we'll get it in with you. And well, let's get your counsel and be pictured with you. We're honored to be with you. Thank you. We'll do the best we can.
Come on.
You got enough room?
Yeah, we'll make room.
Yeah, we can do that.
Hey, I'm gonna stand right here.
Oh, okay.
Better get my head in there, right? Yeah, man. Is there enough room? Let me go down there.
Yeah, we got it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Pass on the line. Again, thank you very much, ladies, for all that you do. Okay. Okay. Next on our agenda, we have Public Works Director. Jason, I'll defer to you, please.
Thank you. When I first came to Richlands a little over 6 months ago, I came the week or two before I actually started the position to meet with department heads, meet with some citizens, meet with a few of you, try to get my feet wet. I don't like to spend my first day trying to get my feet up underneath me. I prefer to try to do that before I got here. One of the first people I met when I came to the town of Richlands is Jason Shepard. Jason's been with the town for about 10 years, I believe, at this point. He's been an equipment operator. He's been a foreman. He's been the interim public works director. And today I'd like to introduce him as the public works director for the town of Richlands. Jason has been a leader for this organization, even without that title. He has stepped up in a number of different ways and a number of different times, both for this organization, for his team, and for his town. He's been a football coach. He's coached a number of different sports. I won't spend too much more time going down the road. We are incredibly happy to have Jason as our new Public Works Director. He's already doing great work. He has already revamped our VDOT reimbursement process. You can see the work that he's done over at the Public Works area where we've cleared out the old barn and are preparing for some additional assets to be added to it. But I ask you to join me in a round of applause for Mr. Shepard as our new Public Works Director for the town of Richlands.
Jason, would you like to say something? Please.
I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a long road. I appreciate the town, and I just want to keep seeing it grow and get better, and grow the team and street department, the sanitation department. All of you guys in that department. they need a voice and a leader, and real humble to have that opportunity.
Thank you very much. Jason, would you please come up here and have a picture with us? Come on. We'll just stand here. Come on up, please. This is an opportunity to record history and pictures. Thank you. Come on up here, please. Come on up here with us. Thank you. See, this is,
It's two Jasons that
these
do this.
are, come on over, Jason.
Shout out.
Good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
very much. We
Appreciate you guys. Thanks to you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason, and thank you, Jason. Okay. Okay, next, we're on Roman numeral 5, scheduled public comments. Jacob Van Dyke. Jacob?
Good evening, Council, Mayor Curry, Mr. Town Manager. First off, I'd like to thank and also commend the Women's Group for their decades of service and dedication to this town. But I'd like to start off with saying it is no secret that the people are struggling daily to make ends meet in this town. It's quite sad. It is an objective fact that it's only getting more expensive to live in the town of Richlands, but not only just town of Richlands, just everywhere in general. The cost of living isn't getting cheaper for anybody, and that's a fact. We understand that these increases to our utilities are necessary in maintaining, upgrading, replacing, and fixing our infrastructure due to years of negligence at the hands of past elected town leadership. We all want to ensure that the people of this town have clean water, have a clean environment, and utilities that are working reliably and efficiently for citizens and those who use the service outside of town limits. This is an unavoidable predicament and a problem that can be no longer ignored or put off. This is an inevitable outcome, and the chickens have certainly come home to roost. The citizens are now experiencing the unpleasant financial effects of the years of neglect and are literally paying with their pocketbook for the mismanagement. I'm not going to lie. I'm not enthusiastic about the increases. I don't think anybody is. You'd have to be a crazy person to be enthusiastic about having to pay more for a service than you had to before. I've never met somebody that's like that, just to be clear. People are already having a hard enough time paying for the utilities now as it is. But I understand that it is necessary for the well-being of the town and its citizens. I had a starter go out on my vehicle a while back. I had to pay a good amount to get that fixed. I wasn't happy about it. But what was I supposed to do? I can't go without a vehicle. I had to pay to get it fixed, obviously. Even though I would have preferred not to have paid that expense before. It was necessary. Just like it is with our town, utilities, and infrastructure. I still share the sentiment and the deep belief that we must work to make Richlands a more affordable place to live, especially for those on our most vulnerable citizens, that being those on set income, the retired and the elderly, the people that built this town and built this community and made it great. We must work to lower the costs of living when and where it can be done, to cushion the blow and to lessen the burdens that those are struggling through these tough inflationary times, especially our most vulnerable citizens, being the retired, the elderly, and on set income. This is what we should strive to do, to put more money back into the citizens' pockets so such decisions never have to be made again. Yet these problems cannot be ignored any longer. They must be confronted, dealt with, fixed. People must understand we just didn't get in this position overnight. And people also need to understand that things are not going to get better overnight. We are beginning the process of pulling ourselves out of a hole that decades of mismanagement has gotten us into. There are not going to be no easy fixes nor easy decisions. It is going to take a lot of time, hard work, decisiveness, determination, and a still resolve within our leaders to get this town back on the right track. And the responsibility isn't just on you, the council, or the town manager, but it's also upon the citizens as well. We must do our own civil duties and do our own due diligence to ensure that this beloved town that we all love so much is never put in a tough predicament like this again. We must work to ensure that this town has a future, to leave behind a better, stronger town for future generations, all that will call this great community home. Thank you, and God bless Richlands.
Thank you, Jacob. Okay, now we have unscheduled public comments. Morgan?
All righty. Morgan Erb, 1618 6th Street. Good afternoon, everyone. I have a few concerns that need to be addressed as an actual private citizen of this town. I can say that there's a few things that need to be said tonight, but at first, before we get into that negative stuff, I want to thank the town manager. Buddy, you're doing a great job over there, making that place cleared it out. Looks great. I tell you what, it's been looking like that for 20-some years. I'm only 24, so. To the Richlands PD and the fire department, thank you for your sacrifices, this past Saturday for cleaning up, picking up trash. A lot of credit is due to you. Okay? All right, now we're going to move on to the business. All right. So I would like to remind the council, as public individuals, you have forfeited your right to privacy. Case law has established the general rule that candidates for political office as public figures have no privacy claims. This permits the circulation of any opinion that may impact the choices of the electorate. All right? First thing I would like to discuss is not discuss, but state the hypocrisy of this council. 2-3 years ago, we forced out Paul Crawford and Richard Brown for being, father and son. Now we got a mother and son. Second thing is that I would like to state that the lies of this council for one of the council members was appointed for the simple reason was that they were not running for council this year. And that's a lie too. And final but not least is that the lawsuit that's been presented to this town about 2 weeks ago. And that's something that should be addressed, done swiftly. That's all I gotta say. Have a great night.
Thank you, Morgan. Okay, now we have Erica Galloway. Erica?
Mayor Curry, before
Yes.
we move on, Ms. Galloway, just give me just 1 second. Everybody knows I will address things like this. And if you need me to stop for legal reasons, by all means. But just to hit on the 3 points there, Morgan, no one forced out. For one, I think it's, for me personally, inappropriate to talk about previous people. There was no secret that I did not agree with them, but they've chosen to move on. And it's not our place to drudge that back up. But let me make it perfectly clear that no one drove any former council members out for being father and son. That never happened. Secondly, when I made the motion to appoint Seth White, and I did so because there were a lot of behind-the-scenes things that we needed someone plug and play. And third, about a lawsuit is pending litigation. We cannot sit up here and talk about pending litigation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our town attorney absolutely
Yeah,
would do
I would
that.
like to address this, please. Morgan, thank you for your comments. Laura, thank you for your comments. If we may move on, I think it's in the best interest of the council. Thank you. I appreciate it, everyone. Erica, come on up.
Hi.
Hi,
Do you
Erica.
need more than 3 minutes, Erica?
I don't, but thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm the director of Tazewell County Public Library, and I was just here to hang out today and watch what's going on, but I wanted to share some really good news about the library. We got a visit just last week from Cornerstone, who's doing the construction for Phase 2 on the Richlands Library. And at the end of May, our elevator will be going into the library, which is awesome. So that means that all 3 public floors of the library will be accessible to everyone in the community, and I think that's an awesome thing. And I'm excited that we have so many friends of the library here in the room tonight also. So like the Women's Club were recognized, and that's awesome because, yeah, close link to libraries. Anyway, just wanted to share that good news. Do y'all have any questions?
I just want to say congratulations. To be ADA compliant is extremely important, and our library is priceless because it is historic, and we do value it, and we value libraries and books and learning, and to have all 3 floors accessible to all people, regardless, is so important. And if you have an opportunity, you can go to TED Talks and check Judy Human, Humen. I could elaborate about her, but I knew her. And she's one of the people who really got the ball rolling for ADA. Thank you, and thank you for the progress
Thank you
update.
so much. I appreciate it.
Erica's doing a great job. I've started paying attention to the county a little bit, and she's overseeing construction on numerous libraries, and she's doing a killer job at it, I think. So we appreciate what you're doing all over Tazewell County.
Thank you. Okay. We have concluded that part. We're on to agenda items. Roman numeral 7. We have Bob Brandenburg, the 2023 audit. Bob, please step up and tell us who you are, please.
Hi, Bob Brandenburg from Bostick, Tucker and Company. First, I'd like to thank you all for selecting Bostick, Tucker and Company for completing your June 30, 2023 audit. Yes, sir. Oh. Is that better?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
good deal.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay, I'd like to say we didn't have any significant problems in completing your audit. Your managers and staff, they provided us with everything we asked for, answered our questions to the best of their ability. They were really great to work with. It made the process all that much easier. In your report, on page 2, you'll find the independent auditor's report. In the second paragraph of that page, we gave you an opinion that your financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. So that's what's known as a clean opinion. That's the opinion that you were hoping to get on your financial statements. On page 18 begins your government-wide financial statements, and there are 2 of those, a balance sheet and an income statement. So the government-wide financial statements are prepared on the full accrual basis of accounting. So this is the basis of accounting that a for-profit business would use in its financial statements. And it has an economic resources measurement focus, so long-term focus. On the balance sheet, we have separated your activities into 2 types of activities, governmental activities and business-type activities. Your governmental activities are going to be things like public works and public safety, so your police and fire departments. Your business-type activities are going to be the things that you charge a fee for, such as your water, sewer, and electric funds. For the year ending June 30, 2023, in the governmental activities, you can see the second line from the bottom, total net position. This is the amount that your assets exceeded your liabilities. And for your governmental activities, that was $7.2 million. For your business type activities, your assets exceeded your liabilities by $14.1 million. And for the town as a whole, that would have been $21.38 million at the year ending June 30, 2023. So if we think about the short-term liquidity of the town at that point in time, we can calculate that as current assets divided by current liabilities. This is known as your current ratio. For this year, your governmental funds, your governmental activities had a current ratio of 2.36. In the prior year, that was 2.05. For your business type activities, your current ratio was 6.65. In the prior year, that was 4.04. And for the town as a whole, it was 3.756 times in the current year and 3.01 times last year. So that's to say that in the prior year, you had enough current assets to pay off your current liabilities 3.01 times is another way to kind of put that. For your current ratio, anything over 1 is a good thing. If your current ratio falls below 1, that's an indication that you do not have sufficient current assets to cover your current liabilities. The following page, page 19, is your income statement, also on a full accrual basis of accounting. The third line from the bottom, the change in net position, this is your net income number. For your governmental funds, you had net income of $1.355 million. For your business type activities, you had net income of $1.1 million, for a total for the town of $2.464 million for the year ended June 30, 2023. So if we look at your cash in terms of your expenditures, what we can do is we can take your total expenses and divide that by 12, divide your cash balance by that number, and it tells us how many months of cash you have on hand. So if we do that, for your governmental activities, you had 10 months on hand at the end of the fiscal year under audit. The prior year, that was 6.2 months. For your business activities, you had 9.188 months of expenses in cash at the end of the year. The prior year, that was 8.2. For the town as a whole, you had 9.578 months of your expenses in cash on hand at June 30, 2023. In the prior year, that number was 7.35 months. As a minimum, we like to see 3 months at a bare minimum. 3 to 6 months is good. So if you can get them all above that 6-month mark, that's where we're looking to be. And so we were happy to see that for this year. On the next page, your fund financial statements begin. I won't go into the numbers on the fund financial statements, but I would like to explain to you the difference between those and your government-wide financial statements. We have 2 different types of fund financial statements in your report, governmental funds and proprietary funds, and they correspond to the 2 columns in the government-wide. So your governmental fund financial statements are going to be your public works and public safety, things like that. Your proprietary fund financial statements are going to be water, sewer, and electric. So the difference between your governmental fund financial statements and the governmental column on the government-wide financial statements is that the governmental fund financial statements are prepared on the modified accrual basis of accounting. And it's got a current financial resources measurement focus, so a lot shorter term focus. So we eliminate fixed assets and long-term debt. So it's a lot closer to your budgetary basis than the government-wide financial statements. And after the governmental fund balance sheet and the governmental fund income statement, you'll find in here after each one of those is a reconciliation that will help you compare it to the government-wide. So it'll show you all the difference between it and the government-wide financial statements. It'll make it a lot easier for you to figure out why those 2 are different. The proprietary fund financial statements are prepared on the full accrual basis of accounting. So the same basis as the government-wide financial statements. So they're the same in total, but what we've done for you in the proprietary fund financial statements is we've separated the water and sewer fund and the electric fund into 2 separate columns. So you can more easily see what the different funds are doing. And there's a lot more detail in there as far as line items between revenues and expenses, gives you a lot more detail. If you'll turn your attention to the back of the report, on page, I believe, 78, begins the budgetary comparison schedules. So the budgetary comparison schedules, your first 2 columns on your left are your original budget and your final budget. The third column is your actual column. So that's the actual revenues and expenditures, what you brought in and paid out during the year. The far right column is your variance column. So that shows the difference between your final budget and what you actually brought in or paid out for the year. And the way you'll want to use these pages in this report is look at that right-hand column and find large variances. And then you'll want to investigate and find out why those variances occurred. So for instance, your largest revenue variance was in other categorical aid, other revenue, you had a $2.7 million variance, which seems large. But what that was caused by was your ARPA funds. So you got the second half, your $2.7 million from ARPA was recognized in this fiscal year. So that's why that's there. So that's not really a cause for concern. So that's what you can do. You can just look for those large variances and see if you can figure out, what caused those. Likewise, on the expenditure side, your largest variance was in capital projects and outlays. And you spent $380,000 more than you originally budgeted for in capital outlays. And that is also driven by ARPA. So you had this ARPA money that wasn't originally budgeted for in the budget, so that you got in, and you chose to use some of that to buy, in one part, a backhoe. So that's what made that variance large like that. So you can just look at those. Good places to look in this report are the MD&A, the management's discussion and analysis at the front, and the notes to the financial statements. That will often help you figure out what these variances are from. And if not, your management can help you locate those. So on page 92, you'll find your independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters. So this report is required by government auditing standards. And in this report, you'll find reference to a finding 2023-001. This is the continuation of the finding from last year, which was 2022-001, you may recall. Over a period of time, the state highway funds were underspent. And at June 30, 2023, the deferred revenue for that item was $2.143 million. So over time, the town is going to have to make that up to the state to come back into compliance. So that's something that we will continue to monitor to make sure that we're making progress toward getting back to where we need to be on that. On page 94, you'll find the independent auditor's report on compliance for each major program and on internal control over compliance. This report is related to your federal funds, such as ARPA. And in that report, you'll find, I believe it's the second paragraph, that we have no findings in regards to your federal awards. We didn't find anything wrong with the expenditure of the federal awards or the compliance or the internal control over compliance with those federal awards. So that's the opinion that you wanted to get on that report as well. If anyone has any questions or would like any clarification on anything, I can try to answer those for you.
First, thank you, Bob, for presenting this, and we'll have an opportunity, I'm sure, to look at it in more detail. Members of council, do you have any questions for Mr. Brandenburg?
I just have one quick one. Why is the full accrual method used?
That's a great question. I think for governmental is one of the only places that you will see the modified accrual basis used, because it's a lot closer to the budgetary model that we're using. Honestly, for your purposes and for the public purposes, I would tend to focus for the governmental funds on the fund financial statements. Why GASB chose to approve that's above my pay grade. Okay. But, for me personally, I like to look at both. Now, one thing I can tell you for me is I want to see the reconciliation between the two on the governmental side. But for the average person or even for council members, I don't know that that's okay. really necessary. But it is required by governmental auditing standards. Okay. So that's the only reason I have for you. So.
Thank you.
Any other members of council, questions for Mr. Brandenburg? Staff, council?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I usually have a ton of questions, but Mr. Campbell's doing monthly financial updates, and
I've seen those, yeah.
It's everything seems to be in the loop. So.
Well, if you all do think of any questions or have any, your management has my contact information and Mr. Tucker's contact information. We're just down the road in Lebanon, so feel free to call, email, if you have any questions at all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you both. We appreciate it. Okay. Next, we're on Roman numeral 7B, rescue collections. Okay. Jason, or who would like to address that?
I'll start us off with it, and Matt, Mr. Whitehead can jump in. When I first got here a few months ago, there were a few citizens and a few folks within the town who had mentioned ambulance expenses, and so we wanted to come back and bring some information for you around this. So one of the things that we have to be aware of is when our rescue team, our ambulance workers go out, they are providing basic life-saving services or advanced life-saving services. Sometimes when they're providing basic life-saving services, you get to a place that the situation's not as severe as it seemed, and you don't have to provide transport. In those situations, we still have to bill. And so what I want to make sure that comes across this evening is that in order for us not to be committing fraud, we have to bill everyone equally. And so when I say everyone, I mean our citizens, insurance companies, hospitals, everybody. And if we start to veer off of that path, it puts us in a situation where we could be considered committing insurance fraud in that situation. So if I am billing the insurance company one level and I'm billing private citizens another, I am committing fraud at that moment in time. And so because I've had some citizens state that we should charge insurance companies one thing and citizens the next. I can't. And by the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, I have to charge a same fee across the board. Now, with that being said, I can work with citizens on mitigating circumstances. If we've came out and you've had some situations going on, we can always work with citizens around their bill. I am more than happy to meet and talk with anybody around an EMS billing that they have received. What I can't do is change the cost of the life-saving services that we're providing for one clientele versus another. I have to charge everybody the same. I can use mitigating circumstances to be able to adjust a bill because of either financial circumstances or other circumstances to be able to do that. We can do that on a one-by-one basis. We have to do it by a one-by-one basis. So what I am saying is that we're going to charge everyone the same. Miss Smith comes and tells me that she is a income limited individual who doesn't have the means to be able to do that. We can take those mitigating circumstances into effect and adjust that bill accordingly. So what I can't do is adjust it wholesale across the board. I can work with individuals, and we're more than happy to work with individuals. But what I can't do is change wholesale what I charge for insurance companies versus citizens. And so that's what we wanted to make sure that we put across for you today, because I know that many of you have probably heard from citizens asking questions about why they're getting a bill. That bill is because I have to charge everyone. And so what we want to make sure that I come across to you is that if you have a citizen that contacts you and they have an EMS bill from us and they have some mitigating circumstances, please forward them to me. I would be more than happy to sit down and talk with them about that situation. I can work with individuals on a case-by-case basis. I cannot change wholesale across the board what I charge one group of people and charge another group of people. I have to charge the same across the board. I know that this is a little murky, so I'm more than happy to answer any questions. But what we want to be able to say is that I have one rate that I am charging everybody. In case-by-case circumstances with mitigating factors, I can work with citizens to be able to lower that cost. Questions?
Jason, thank you. It's one of the beauties of living in a small town. We consider our neighbors' needs individually. Recommendation I'm reading here says we recommend a campaign to better educate
Yes, sir. That's one of the things
the
that we're
public about the
ready to start
importance of
trying to
EMS.
take on.
Okay. Shall we?
I need no vote. This is just for
Yeah.
informational purposes, and we just want to make sure, again, this was one of the things that came, this has been pushed off a couple of agendas, so we've tried to make sure we get this back in front of you. Really, what I want you to understand is that I cannot change my rate, but what I can do is meet with individual citizens on a case-by-case basis to discuss their circumstances. That's what we would like to do. So if you ever have anybody that wants to come and talk about their EMS bills, please send them my way. I'm more than happy to. Can't promise anything, But I'm more than happy to be able to sit down and have that conversation.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Jason, thank you. And again, I think that's something that is personal
Yes,
about
sir.
what we do here. Thank you very much.
I think it's a good idea, what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a meeting once, I won't say where it was, but in our area where they talked about their ambulance service not billing for this. And they had an influx of calls of people who would take advantage of the fact that they knew they wouldn't get billed. So they told a story of a super nice person who, when they needed help taking the trash out to the curb or carrying groceries in, they called the ambulance, and that was taking necessary resources away from an actual emergency. And they had to do the same thing of this, put a price on it, and then start educating people of who, what, when, where, and why. So
It's a service that we want to provide, but it's one that we have to bill for, and we have to make sure that we are bringing in revenues to be able to match up with that. Now, that doesn't mean that we're trying to gouge anybody or try to work with people. We want to make sure that we're working with our citizens, but I just want to convey, I've had a couple of folks that have said, well, why don't you charge citizens less than what you charge the insurance companies? I cannot legally do that. And so if I do that, the insurance companies will come after us and start asking us about why we're charging them more than I'm charging them. It sounds like a really great idea on the surface of it, but when you dive underneath it a little bit, it's just something or other we can't do. We can work with individual citizens on their situation, but we can't change rates.
Thank you.
Mayor Curry, may we take a quick recess, please?
Yeah, I was going to suggest 10-minute recess, and then we'll be back with you, Mr. Matney. Thank you. This meeting of the Richlands Town Council is now back in session. We're on Roman numeral 7C, Don Matney subdivision. Okay, Don, would you like to talk about this, or who would like to address this?
I'll
Jason?
speak to it.
Okay.
What we have in front of us this evening, Mayor, is a request to subdivide an existing parcel into additional parcels to be sold. We've reviewed this. It meets all of the requirements for subdivision. There will be a small expense and this was the underground. We've actually looked at it. It's a little bit cheaper. It's about half that price to be able to go above ground for the electric lines. We will have to do that, but this meets with all of the right-of-way requirements. It meets with everything that zoning and planning that we have. And as you can see down at the bottom, we respectfully request council's inspection and consideration to vote for this partial subdivision so that the landowner can put those lots up for sale in the future.
Jason, I have a question.
Please.
It said council's inspection and consideration, or do you want council to think about this or to act on it tonight?
Vote, yes, sir. I need a vote.
Want to make sure about that. All right, so, yes, there are questions. Gary?
I was just gonna make a motion that we accept the request from J. Carl Matney for the subdivision of parcel map number 123A0102A.
And I will second that.
There's a motion on the floor made by Gary and seconded by Rick to approve this subdivision parcel. Is there any,
I still have a question.
yes?
I
any
don't have any
discussion
issue.
on the motion?
Yeah, I don't have any issue with this. Do we have a map? Can we see it?
I apologize. I thought there was a map in here. There's not. This is up on Deal Road. It's going up to the top up there before you get to some of the mobile homes that are in the back. There's about 5 acres of land to the left of the road right there. Mr. Matney's subdividing those into right at 1 acre lots.
And it meets all the subdivision requirements? Okay. And,
Gary, go ahead and say it.
no, I'm sorry, I just had one more question.
Okay, and I have a question too.
Do we have to have a public hearing or notify any surrounding landowners?
No,
any of that?
sir, because
Okay.
it meets all of the requirements. There's no variances required.
That's what I was going to follow up with. So the planning commission took this under consideration?
Yes.
Okay.
Does this motion mean that we're going to pay for the underground? Because,
No, ma'am. We'll pay for the above ground.
so we will do the above ground?
Yes.
Okay.
And again, those lots, when they pay for the electric tap, will reimburse the town for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any further questions? Council, there's a motion and a second on
And
the
that's
floor.
customary, it's how we've done it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How big are the lots?
I believe right at an acre.
Okay.
I believe
There's the
that-
plat.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, thank you.
My apologies for not being in the packet.
And said Mr. Matney owns both sides of the road.
Right.
Everything around it, so.
I'm good with it.
I've seen the lots.
I just wanted to make sure I hadn't seen it or knew exactly where it was. Yeah.
I'll wait.
Once you said, I
I mean,
figured
let's
that
wait
out.
until the map gets around so we can take a look at it. Thank you. Any other discussion while we're waiting?
Oh, you're good, thank you.
The only one I did want to mention is the last sentence on the financial impact. Again, I believe at this point in time, the landowner intends for Greenfield Drive to remain a private road, so that will not become a town road, will not be something that we'll be maintaining. The landowners will be maintaining that going forward.
Paving and anything that won't done?
Yes,
is
sir.
on the
Paving,
landowners.
all of that will be taken care of by them.
What's the total number of parcels?
I believe it's 5. Is that correct? 5 parcels? It's
5 new
going into
lots.
5 new lots, correct? Yes, sir.
Jason, it says here, maybe I'm not reading it well. It says, let's see here, property owner is shown on the map, da-da-da-da, okay, for our electrical utility to install service line for new homes, these 4 new lots?
Yeah, I believe it's 4, yes, sir.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. And the written word, it's 4? Okay. 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 There's a motion, and Jan, do you have any further questions? Okay. Anyone else have questions? There's a motion and a second on the floor. There being no further discussion, I would call for a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Seth,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
and Laura.
Yes.
It is unanimous. Thank you, council. Mr. Matney, you may proceed. Thank you. Have a good day, sir. Okay, next we have Roman numeral 7. D says amendment to cigarette tax ordinance, second reading. So let's look at our ordinances, please. And let's see here. Mike, I will defer to you on this. Is this ordinance number, it doesn't have an ordinance number. Let's make sure we're doing the right one.
Yes, this should be 0-2024-05-01.
Okay, I have it right here. Thank you. So we have had a first reading, and as, shall we have, I'll defer to you, Mike. Can we dispense with the second reading?
You could dispense with the second reading. We've read this back in the March 12th meeting. You can dispense with that by an affirmative vote of at least four members, and then take action upon that.
Okay. Is there a motion to dispense with a second reading?
So moved.
Barb makes the motion.
Second,
Is there a
Mr. Mayor.
second? And Seth makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion to dispense with the second reading? Being no discussion, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Seth,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
and Laura.
Yes.
The motion carries. It is unanimous. Now, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-0501?
So moved.
Laura makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Rick makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion? There being no discussion, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Seth,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
and Laura.
Yes.
It is unanimous. Thank you, council.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, I just wanted to clarify, we're just correcting an issue that we had with the original ordinance. It's not a new tax, it's not something like that. There was an issue with the original ordinance that was, I guess, unlawful. So we're just making a correction to that. That's why we're passing this motion.
Thank you, Seth. Okay, now we have under Roman numeral 7E, ordinance, making sure I get the right one.
This one is actually supposed to be O-2024-05-02. Previously, I did have it numbered 0403, but this, since it's being approved, or being voted on in May, I just changed that number.
So to be clear, Mike, what I have here stapled together in my packet is ordinance number 2024-0503. Behind it is
No,
03.1.
No,
And-
that's not them. Those are the electric ordinances. This one is 05-02. It should be the capital improvement accounts.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me make sure I have it here. Read that number again, please, Mike.
It ends in 05-02.
05-02.
We have a 3.2, but I don't see it.
We got a 05.
Yeah.
We've got all the other digits, but not that one.
0506, and a 0501. That's what we have.
Do you want me to go make copies?
Please. That would be helpful. We'll just hold a minute. until we get the proper one. So Mike, I will get done here. Mike, to be sure, let's go back to Roman numeral 7E as in Edward. It says ordinance O20240403 should be
O-2024-05-02.
We originally were going to be hearing this in April, but given the fact that we were in the middle of budget, we pushed this off until this month. That's the change in it, is the dashes on the end represent the month that it was passed in, and the number.
So it's going to be 0502.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you. Just want to make sure. We have 03 here, but it's not the right one. Okay.
The O3 is electric.
Mm-hmm. See right here.
And that's on that dollar? Okay.
And while she's doing that, I'll just point out, this is also a second reading. This is one that we read back in March. It's to set up a capital improvement accounts in general, and also to set up our first one, which is going to be the grapple truck.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Mike, while we're waiting for that, let's move ahead, not to discuss it, just make sure we have them. Roman numeral 7, G, water rate adjustment ordinance. What's the number on that? Get it? Is it 01? No.
That would be 0504.
0504, okay. I'm going to put it
You
here
do
on
have two versions of that?
Maybe.
I knows.
So G is 0504, okay.
We'll get there.
Oh, okay.
That's the
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, we do. All right, and Mike, while we're waiting, H, sewer rate adjustment ordinance, what's the number on that, so we get it right, please?
That will be the same number.
04?
0504.
Okay. Okay, we'll catch up on this, thank you. Thank you, Amanda. Okay. Appreciate that. Okay.
We more than paid them. Thank you.
Okay. So, thank you, Amanda. To be clear, Mike, we now have in front of us ordinance number O2024-05-02. Is that correct? And this is our second reading?
That is correct.
All right. So we've had the first reading. Are there any questions, or is there a motion to dispense with the second reading? Rick makes the motion to dispense with the second reading, and Gary makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion to dispense with the second reading? Anyone? Okay. There being no discussion, Amanda, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Okay, Seth?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And Laura?
Yes.
The motion carries. It is unanimous. Thank you, council. Okay, next we have, the next thing on our
Mayor
agenda.
Curry, it would be, would you all want to vote on that?
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you for your help. I was looking ahead. So is there a motion, thank you, Mike, to adopt ordinance O2024-05-02?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, Laura makes the motion and Jordan makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion to adopt ordinance O2024-05-02?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to say, and I know that anytime we address any type of new fee or charge or whatever, it's important and it's not just something that we considered lightly, but I think we've all gotten many, many phone calls, and the issues that we've had over the last 2 years of not having an operational grapple truck. It's harder on our employees, it's harder on the citizens. And, if you live out in the county, this is not a service that's available to you. And for $1 a month, you can have some larger
It's one
items.
of the benefits of living in town.
Yes, it is, very much so. And so that's my 2 cents, but $1 a month, in my opinion, is well worth the
Your
fee
2
that it
cents as
costs
well.
us.
Thank you.
And this is going to establish the account that it's going to set in, so everybody can see where that dollar's going. So in 5 years, nobody can come back and say, they took our dollar and moved it to another account.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
already set up.
Okay.
Perfect.
Nice.
Keep the truck going, right?
Right.
Or buy new.
Yeah.
Yes. Any
It's
further
for
discussion?
accountability.
Council?
Just refreshing my memory.
Comments? Okay, may we have a roll call vote, please? Did you get it, Amanda?
Lauren Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I second it.
Laura made the motion, Jordan seconded it.
Yes, for a roll call vote.
I'm sorry.
Start talking.
Well, I'll be honest, it gets a
thought
little
I already
confusing.
did.
I like the numbers on the agenda. It helps me, so that's okay.
Okay, Seth,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
It is unanimous. Thank you, council. Okay, next we have Roman numeral 7, F, Teen Venture. And we have before us, I asked Town Manager May about this. This is proposed for running Teen Venture starting in August of 2024. Are you going to speak on behalf of Teen Venture? Okay, great. Thank you, Jim. So I'll wait till everybody gets up here, and then I'll make my comment, and you can have the floor. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Ladies, come on up. This was on at our desk when we got here, and I didn't know whose proposal it was, so I asked Jason May. He said, this is the proposal of Team Venture, and he said it's from Victoria Krebs. So please proceed. Thank you.
It is a working document. We will be polishing it up and making revisions. We've put a lot of effort into it as a group. Victoria, Rita, Francis, Dr. Harrison, several people have had input. Dr. Harrison was actually supposed to be here tonight to speak, but he found out at the end of the week that his granddaughter is getting a major award tonight, and he felt the need to be there. But we send the information about our plans, and we gave you a copy of and I'm sorry it was late that you didn't have it on your desk, but it's a pretty straightforward budget. You all have any questions?
Well, Jim, I haven't, regarding this right here, or this,
Either
I
one, sir.
haven't had an opportunity really to read it and soak it in, but maybe other members of council have. So I will defer to other members of council, because I just got this and I haven't really read that. So
Yes, sir.
I can't speak to it until I have time to digest it.
Yes, sir.
Personally. Anyone in council have questions for Jim or members of the Team Venture Board? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
One thing we do not have on there, and it just came up in the last few days, and since Ms. Galloway was here tonight and we talked, we would like to request permission to let the library use Teen Venture for a pop-up library while they're closed for the installation of their elevator. And we do realize that that is not in our lease, but we would ask permission of the town to do that.
Okay, thank you, Jim. We'll take that into consideration, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
But any questions from council? Or ladies, would you all care to speak at all? Feel free.
I guess I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that we are trying to network with other organizations in our community so that we can better serve the students that we have. And also, that part of what we need is the ability to make decisions about our building and how we use it. One of the things that's in there is we would like to be able to use the skate park as a way to bring in revenue when we're not open for the teens, so that those who've learned some amazing skills can go in there and test them out. It's such a big asset, and we're just not able to utilize it the way that our current contract is written.
Thank you.
So
Anyone
are you
else?
asking for us to sit down together and renew your contract? Is
I
that
think that
what
if
you
we
need?
could sit down together and come up with some, maybe amendments to the contract, that would be very beneficial.
So could we have like a workshop to do that in or something?
I'd have to think about that. I think right now, let me digest that just a minute, Rick, okay? I'm not sure how to go, but anyone else care to speak? Anyone else? I think I'll speak for myself here, and maybe on behalf of the council. Everyone wishes Team Venture well. I think we'd be hard pressed to make any decisions right now about leases or what we're going to do exactly. And I have found that smaller groups do better than large groups. And so I would suggest that we think about this just for a little bit. But I'll defer to members of council. They may have questions, but it's hard. I haven't had a chance to read this and digest it. That's just me. And so I think it's prudent to give it a little bit of thought, not to put you off or put council off, but that's my thinking. Anybody else have a thought here?
Just one question. The pop-up library thing that you mentioned, when would that?
That would be right away, Ms. Galloway.
Okay.
Take some steps.
That's what I was going to ask you. So, my only question about that would be, I don't think any of us will have an issue with that, but we just need to understand the logistics of it. So what I'm going to do is defer Ms. Galloway and you all to Jason on that. And, if unless anybody else says anything, I don't see any issue, but they need to work out the logistics of making sure what part of the building you're going to be in, which you have an outside door that could access one room and you could shut everything
Yes.
else out.
I think that's where I'm headed with it, and I think guys pretty much following suit here. I think it'd be really tough for the council right here to act on any of this. We're not opposed.
I understand.
But I think it'd be prudent to speak with the manager, and he could report to the council any of his findings or thoughts. Any other thoughts or opinions here from our members of council? Anyone?
I have a
as long-
question. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
So as long as they work that with Jason, that's good to go. We don't need to take a vote or anything for their pop-up, because we're not gonna meet again before June. So we're good there.
Well, you have a meeting in a couple weeks, May 28th.
28th.
Budget, yeah.
Budget. It's for budget.
Okay.
Laura?
I know I've asked this question a couple times and haven't gotten an answer, but cash on hand right now, what do you guys have in a bank account?
The 2024 actual.
Because we've had to pay some things recently, so it's probably deducted from purchases. I don't have a copy of it right in my hand.
I have a question. On this, you have the first column, 2024 budget. Is that your proposed budget? And then you have an actual budget in that last column?
I think the 2023 actual is the first column, and then the 2024 proposed budget is the second column. And that would be if we were actually open for the entire year, which we are closed right now. So it'll end up being lower than that by the end of the year.
But you've got a 2024 budget, then you've got a 2024 actual.
Yeah, the actual is where we are right now.
Okay.
That's not anticipated, that's actual.
That's actual.
Okay.
The amount of cash, the amount of cash on hand's not on this, unless I'm mistaken it somewhere.
not?
Basically, this is your P and L report.
I can get that for you, we probably didn't put that.
You're good.
in there, but I can get it for you.
That would be perfect.
I think this gives us the information that when Laura and Jason and I met with you all, this gives us the starting place, gives you a budget, you've got the thoughts that you want to put down on paper. I think our next step is get with the town manager and go through and see what we can work with, come up with some ideas.
I think that's prudent, and I was going to ask a question from Ms. Galloway. Ms. Galloway, what time frame are you thinking about having a pop-up library outside of the regular facility? You may stand up. I can't hear you very well. Thank you.
That's a really good question. So right now, I don't have a solid, like, timeline.
Uh-huh.
What they said was late May, and maybe could last through the summer. So I'm hoping to get some more solid answers on, like, an actual timeline later this week. And I don't know, we're kind of still in the, planning stage of what are we gonna do?
Right. Well, I don't think anyone here wants learning to stop. So that being said, I think this is something else, if council is in agreement with me, that we would defer to the manager to work with the times with the team board venture and the library so that they are congruous with what is appropriate for the team venture board in the town of Richlands and the public library.
This would be during the time that they would be installing their elevator so that people would still have library service available.
Yes. That's what I was headed at, Jim. We just don't have that time nailed
Yes,
down.
I understand.
Okay.
Thank
All right. Thank you so much for appearing before us. We appreciate it. Wish you well. Thank
I
you.
do have another question.
Yes, Laura.
And are you guys prepared to take on those expenses for utilities while the library is utilizing your building?
Shouldn't be any more expenses for utilities than, I would assume, very little, but since the lights are on, but yeah, I assume you're still sending us a utility bill.
I hope.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. We appreciate what you're trying to do here. All right. We're moving along on the agenda. We're on Roman numeral 7G, Water Rate Adjustment Ordinance, which is, Mike, correct me if I've got this wrong, we have two of these. 2024-0504.
Correct.
And they are, one is titled Title 5 Public Works. It says Chapter 50 Utility Schedules and Riders, Water and Sewer Rates. And the other one says Title 5 Public Works, Chapter 50, Utility Schedules and Riders, Schedule MGS, Medium General Service Code E07. Is that correct? I'm looking at these two right here.
No.
Say 04.
No, they,
I think I only have one of those here.
Mike, let me,
I've only got
I
one
do
version.
I have two.
I didn't say anything, yeah.
I've only got one.
Can I have a 5-minute recess and let us make sure that we have all
Yes.
the copies ready? for
Recess,
everybody
thank
to
you.
be able to
That
do
would be
that?
amazing.
Thank you.
I just want to be some clarity. Thank you very much.
What do I need, Mike?
We're back in session here. Mike, I'm going to defer to you on this. We are, as far as the agenda, we are on Roman numeral 7G. So if you'll please clarify for us, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. So the way the Richlands Town Code is drafted, or actually in effect, section 50.12 is water and sewer rates. So I know we have them listed as two separate water rates, sewer rates, where it's under the same chapter or same code. You can do it at one time if you're going to change both. We have a version here where we're changing water rates and sewer rates. There's also a version to just change water rates and leave sewer rates alone. That is ultimately council's call. I don't know if you all want to make the decision here today and proceed on just one of these, where we can read them both and then make the decision at the next meeting. But, you know, it's your all's call, whichever one you want to do, and I want to defer to Jason on that as far as what you all do, but we can do it in one ordinance or just water rates, just sewer rates, whichever one.
Jason, would you care to comment, please?
So where we are this evening is we have a balanced budget. We just need to determine how you would like to balance it. So you have an extra $65,000 that has been projected on the sales tax side. That equates to what a quarter on the sewer rate will bring in as far as revenue. So at this point in time, the decision that council has before it is it can make one of two choices. It can either keep the quarter increase on the sewer, which would equate to about a quarter per 1,000 gallons, so it would be about 65 to 75 cents, depending on how much water you did for the average household. If you keep that, then you have $65,000 in the general fund, which you need to appropriate. You need to give it a purpose of what you would like for me to spend it on in the FY25 budget year. I have suggestions on that. We are in the process of going through a grant, a federal funding project where we are looking to be able to set our grant process for the next year in place to be able to go after the grants that we are looking at. We have about $12 million worth of grants that we are targeting in next year's budget, ranging from the IRF grant to the Energy Ingenuity grant, to AMLR grants, to other federal funding. That is one pathway you can go. So that's keeping the quarter and using the $65,000 in projected sales tax increase that was not included in your proposed budget for grant writing in FY25. Your other option is to remove the quarter from the sewer rate increase, keep sewer rates where they are as of today, use the $65,000 to fill in the gap, and you're balanced. So your choices are, again, you can include the quarter increase on the sewer rate. That means that you have $65,000 in the general fund which to appropriate. My suggestion would be for the grant writing services in FY25. That's one path. If you choose to not keep the quarter in for the sewer rate increase, then you are simply balanced and you no longer include the quarter in it. So those are the choices that you have for this evening. Again, there's multiple different ways to be able to do it above and beyond that, but those are the two clearest and cleanest ways to be able to balance it.
Jason, thank you. I think I now have an understanding, especially with the paper in front of me. Thank you. And then I have a thought on this based on what you're saying. Excuse me, per 1,000 gallons, you're saying it would be approximately 75 cents. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. An average person uses about 1,000 gallons. So if you're a household of four, you use about 4,000 gallons. So this would be an increase of about $1 for your household per month above where you are paying now. So not an increase, not doing anything. Would be about $1 for a family of four that uses around 4,000 gallons of water each month.
Okay. Thank you.
I have
Okay,
a
council.
question, Ron.
Yes, Jan?
If you don't use that $65,000 for grant writing, what would be the alternative that would enable you to write the grants?
So we're in the process, we are in the process of going through the Appalachian Regional Commission's Ready, Set, Go grant. This is a grant that at the end of the 9 weeks, we get the opportunity to apply for a $50,000 grant. That's 9 weeks that my executive team and I are sitting in going through. We are preparing for the CDBG grant for next year through this process. We are actually also going through a boot camp with the National League of Cities for off-system bridge work, for railroad removal, and for infrastructure around solid waste and recycling. Right now, there is more money flowing from the federal government than there probably has ever been in history. And over the next 2 years, there's going to be a very large number of grants that the town of Richlands can apply for and should apply for. So if we don't use it for the $65,000 for the grants, my next piece would be either to hire a grant writer on ourselves, to be able to look at that for the next 2 years as a grant-funded position and use that $65,000 for that, or to be able to look in a couple of different paths to be able to either contract or go that route. That would be my suggestion. But again, we can use the $65,000 to hire a clerk. We can use it to hire an additional downtown person. This is recurring revenue, so the court is literally yours with the $65,000. I'm more than happy to do just about anything with that funding. And if you'd like to look at cutting a rate somewhere else, we can look at that as well. But again, the $65,000 equates to about a quarter on the sewer, so you're not going to be able to do anything on property tax or anything else. This is really primarily from the water and sewer side.
Okay.
I guess I phrased that poorly, but what I'm saying is if you don't have that 65,000, then you'll have to pull the funds from another
Yes, ma'am.
place in the budget.
We would either pull it from somewhere else, or we would, again, look at that Appalachian Regional Commission. That's one of the allowable uses for that funding, would be for the 50,000. We've attended every session. We have to make sure that we attend all 9. They've been very, very helpful. They're long. It's 3 hours. But that would be the other place that we would go to pull that. Or we would look at the end of this fiscal year as we close out this year, if there is any available funding in FY24 to prepay that in advance for the year.
Okay. Thank you, Jan. A good question. Any other questions here?
Does it have to be 25 cents? Can it be 15, 10?
You can drop it. I can run the numbers on any rate that you would like to either increase or decrease.
Okay.
The sewer side, again, did have a very large increase back in November.
Yep.
So, again, I don't have the exact numbers right in front of me. I can run those and have those for you at the public here at the budget vote in May 28th. But I think it's a
25,000 is what I got for 10 cents, but
it's
that's
about-
rough math.
That's probably close to
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
The 25 cents would equate to the 65,000, is that what you're saying? Okay.
Just thinking out loud here on this one, but I wasn't here when you guys had made the motion and took the vote. You had to increase your sewer in November, and that wasn't an option. Just for everybody that out there that they know, we had to do this because we have to fix the sewer plant. So that was a mandated increase, and we had to increase. This increase, if we don't do it this year, we are going to have to increase the following year. But my thoughts on it, we did just have a large increase in November. If we can figure out another way to sharpen the pencil, maybe get that money from somewhere else to do this, I think that it probably would be prudent not to increase it at this time, just because of the large increase that we had, which was mandated. Now, it's coming up, the following year, it will be mandated again because we have to get to a certain level by a certain year. There's I guess, benchmarks that we have to hit in order to get the grant funding that we need to build the wastewater treatment plant.
That's right. Okay, other thoughts here about this possible ordinance? Mike, first off, the ordinance I'm looking at, we have not read it.
Correct.
Okay. And Jason, you're saying if council so desires, you could give other thoughts as to what we could do with 65,000 or a different rate other than 25 cents.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I'm more than happy to run that at any level, that 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, however you would like for me to look at that. I'm more than happy to do that, and I believe that Mike has stated we can read both of these this evening. This decision does not have to be made tonight. It can be made on May 28th, but we need to read. If you're wanting to have full ability to look at the question of the 28th, we need to read both this evening.
I was going to suggest, thank you, if council is so chooses, may we have a first reading?
I do have a statement to say
Yes.
before we read it. I could go either way on this. I'm not going to get too upset either way, but we do have increases this year, and we're talking a quarter. The average bill is going to go up 63 cents. We've got increases next year too, and I don't know what that number is, but say it's 75 cents next year. This is, if we put this off, it's going to make it $1. And it's, I think the mayor said it best in the last meeting, we're going to pay for it now or pay for it later. And going down 10 cents, I mean, to me, if we're going to do it, at some point, somebody up here is going to have to start doing incremental increases for citizens so that 3 years don't come down the road and we get hit with another doubling a rate or something. I mean,
Points are well taken.
I'm not going to get upset either way on this one, but it's just something to consider.
Okay, so Mike, would you care to read these, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll start with the one with both first. It's ordinance number O-2024-05-04, amendment to existing ordinance, Title 5 Public Works, Chapter 50 Utility Schedules and Riders, Water and Sewer Rates. Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, that it hereby enacts the following change to the Code of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to Section 15.2-2119 of the Virginia Code and Section 50.12 of the Richlands Town Code to amend the water and sewer rates as follows. A, rates, in-town water rates, water meter size in inches. This is both .625 and .750. Water meter type is displacement ultrasonic. Monthly minimum charge each meter size, $13.29 for both. Usage allowance in gallons, 0. Unit charge per 1,000 gallons, $4.29. Out-of-town water rates, both water meter sizes in inches is .625 and .75. Water meter type is displacement ultrasonic. Monthly minimum charge each meter size, $17.44. Usage allowance in gallons, 0. Unit charge per 1,000 gallons, $5.39. All other water rates for in-town and out-of-town will remain the same. And then for sewer rates, in-town sewer rates, water meter size in inches, .625 and .75. Water meter type displacement ultrasonic. Monthly minimum charge each meter size, $22.01. Usage allowance in gallons, 0. Unit charge per 1,000 gallons, $7.61. Then out-of-town sewer rates, water meter size in inches, .625 and .75. Water meter type is displacement ultrasonic. Monthly minimum charge each side is $29.35. Usage allowance in gallons, 0. Unit charge per 1,000 gallons is $10.05. All other sewer rates for in-town and out-of-town will remain the same, and that'll be effective bills rendered after July 1 of 2024. That is the one that includes water and sewer rates.
Thank you, Mike.
And then ordinance number, if you decide not to do the sewer rates, it would be ordinance number O-2024-05-04, amendment to existing ordinance, Title 5 Public Works, Chapter 50 Utility Schedules and Riders, Water and Sewer Rates. Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, that it hereby enacts the following change to the Code of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to Section 15.2-2119 of the Virginia Code and Section 50.12 of the Richlands Town Code to amend the water rates as follows. A, rates, in-town water rates, water meter size in inches, .625 and .75. Water meter type is displacement ultrasonic. Monthly minimum charge each meter size is $13.29. Usage allowance in gallons, 0. And unit charge per 1,000 gallons, $4.29. And then out-of-town water rates, water meter size in inches, .625 and .75, water meter type displacement ultrasonic, monthly minimum charge each meter size $17.44, usage allowance in gallons 0, unit charge per 1,000 gallons is $5.39. Then all sewer rates for in-town and out-of-town will remain the same. And that's effective bills rendered after July 1, 2024.
Thank you, Mike. So this constitutes the first reading of these possible ordinances, choices.
And that is for water and sewer.
Yes. Water rates and then water and sewer rates.
Correct.
Okay.
So we haven't read this one before?
No, this is the first reading.
That's the first reading. Okay. Any other questions on that? So I think we are now on Roman numeral 7I.
Yes, and
So
these
we
are the
on
electric rate.
ordinance, okay?
These were stapled for you. There are multiple of electric.
Mike, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I got a question. So now, we only read this one time. The 28th, we're voting on the budget, right?
Yes, sir.
So does this need to be done as a,
It cannot be done as an emergency.
so when are we gonna read it again?
It'll be the 28th.
Can I ask one question about that too? We talked about, and I forget about this until every time that we have to do this. Can we please do a charter change so we don't have to read these stupid things?
I will be more than happy to do that.
Listen, this is the only place on planet Earth I've ever served that you have to sit here and read this. All you have to do is provide everybody a copy, you take a motion to dispense of the reading, then you don't have to ad nauseum listen to 4 hours of reading of ordinances, and we'll provide copies for, and we can even put that in the charter, that copies will be made for everybody that's in the room who asked for one or wants one. You know, it's not to try to avoid this, but just like he has to go through each one of these charts
It's a
and
time
read
saver.
that. Yeah, it's crazy. So if we can, Mike, I know you got a lot on you, but if that's one thing, if you hear consensus up here, if we can look into whatever that is that we need to change in our charter so you no longer have to do that, I'm all for that.
See,
Seth, I want to say something. I think a consensus is great. I don't disagree with you at all. I think a vote of the council has more power.
Well,
Okay.
and the only thing, a charter change is very difficult to do because it has to go in front of the General Assembly.
Yes.
Is that a charter change that's necessary for that to happen?
Yes, it's a charter change.
Okay, well,
It's in the
listen,
charter.
let's take that long hurdle and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Seth, can you hold on?
Yeah.
Let's go to that during your comments.
All right,
and
sure.
Get these things, okay? Let's take, I get you, and I'm not against it, I'm for it, but let's follow this order, okay? Thank you. All right, so I appreciate that. All right, so we are here on electric rates. Okay, go ahead, Mike, read them.
So you all had these, I think they were previously stapled for you. They go from O-2024-05-03 to O-2024-05-03.4. So every single one of those is an electric change. And if you want to pay close attention to the titles of each one, they change by one number.
Which one are we going to start with?
We'll start with just 0503. And that is ordinance number O-2024-05-03, amendment to existing ordinance, Title 5 Public Works, Chapter 50 Utility Schedules and Riders, Schedule RS Residential Electric Service Code E05. Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, that it hereby enacts the following change to the Code of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to Section 2.37 of the Richlands Charter and Section 50.03 of the Richlands Town Code, to amend the electric rates as follows. Section A remains unchanged. B, monthly rate. Customer charge will be $10.90 per month. Energy and fuel charge and all kilowatts are 12.411 cents per kilowatt. All other sections remain unchanged. So that's just a dollar raise on there. Ordinance number O-2024-05-03.1, Amendment to existing ordinance, Title V Public Works, Chapter 50 Utility Schedules and Riders, Schedule SWS Sanctuary Worship Service Code E051. Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, that it hereby enacts the following change to the Code of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to Section 2.37 of the Richlands Charter and Section 50.04 of the Richlands Town Code, to amend the electric rates as follows. Section A remains unchanged. B, monthly rate, customer charge $11.70 per month. Energy and fuel charge, all kilowatts are now 0.1349 cents per kilowatt. Okay. Ordinance number O-2024-05-03.2, amendment to existing ordinance, Title V Public Works, Chapter 50 Utility Schedules and Riders, Schedule SGS Small General Service Code E08, E09. Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, that it hereby enacts the following change to the Code of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to Section 2.37 of the Richlands Charter and Section 50.05 of the Richlands Town Code, to amend the electric rates as followed. Section A remains unchanged. B, monthly rate, customer charge $13.20 per month. Energy and fuel charge, all kilowatts are now 0.12066 cents per kilowatt. Once again, that was just a dollar change. Ordinance number O-2024-05-03.3, amendment to existing ordinance, Title V Public Works, Chapter 50 Utility Schedules and Riders, Schedule LGS Large General Service Code E01. Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, that it hereby enacts the following change to the Code of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to Section 2.37 of the Richlands Charter and Section 50.06 of the Richlands Town Code, to amend the electric rates as follows. Section A remains unchanged. B, monthly rate, customer charge is $215 per month. Demand charge, all kilowatts of demand, $16.05 per kilowatt. Energy and fuel charge, all kilowatts are 0.07094 cents per kilowatt. All right, and the last one on the electric, ordinance number O-2024-05-03.4, amendment to existing ordinance, Title V Public Works, Chapter 50 Utility Schedules and Riders, Schedule MGS Medium General Service Code E07. Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, that it hereby enacts the following change to the Code of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to Section 2.37 of the Richlands Charter and Section 50.07 of the Richlands Town Code, to amend the electric rates as follows. Section A remains unchanged. B, monthly rate, customer charge $14.90 per month. Demand charge, all kilowatts of demand is $4.75 per kilowatt. Energy and fuel charge is all kilowatt hours. It's 0.1038 cents per kilowatt hour. All other sections remain unchanged.
Thank you, Mike.
Do you want us to help you read? I will volunteer the mayor to read the next one if you want us to.
I'll be glad to do that. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that, totally. Okay? All right, so that's by charter. We can change that, hopefully. Thank you. All right, shall we? Now, we're on Roman numeral 7J, Garbage Collection Rate Adjustment Ordinance.
And that is 05-05.
Got it. Okay. Do we need, this is the first reading, isn't it? I'll be glad to read it. Here we go. Ordinance number O-2024-05-05, amendment to existing ordinance, Title V, Public Works, Chapter 50, Utility Schedules and Riders, Garbage and Container Fees, be it ordained by the council of the town of Richlands, Virginia, that it hereby enacts the following change to the code of the town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to section 15.2-928 of the Virginia Code and section 50.13 of the Richlands Town Code, comma, to amend the garbage rates as follows. A, rates. Commercial one-day pickup per week, garbage rates $18.16. Commercial two-day pickup per week, $32.83. Commercial three-day pickup per week, $47.49. Commercial five-day pickup per week, $76.81. Residential in town, $15. Residential out of town, $17.01. All container charges will remain the same, effective for bills rendered after July 1st, 2024. First reading. So note. Next, we have Roman numeral 7K, Real Estate Tax Adjustment Ordinance. Get the right one here.
That's 2024-05-06.
Got it. Okay, I'll read it, shall we? Okay, ordinance number O2024-05-06, amendment to existing ordinance, Title III, Administration, Chapter 35, Taxation, General Provisions, be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Richlands, Virginia, pursuant to Sections 2.24, 3.47, and 4.4 of the Town Charter, Section 35.01A of the Town of Richlands, Virginia Code of Ordinances, Town Code, and Virginia Code Sections 58.1-3200, Volume 2017, that the council hereby amends Section 35.01B of the Town Code regarding the real estate tax. Section 35.01, Annual Assessment, Valuation of Property. A, the text of this subsection remains unchanged by this amendment. B, the real estate tax per $100 of assessed valuation is fixed and determined to be 0.19 cents. First reading, so noted. Move right along. We are on Roman numeral 7, letter L.
Mayor Kirk, just to have a clarification for anybody who may not know, that's actually a lowering of the real estate tax. That's not a raise. That is a lower.
Thank you, that's
And it's
important.
from
21
To
to
19.
19.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, everybody, for the input on that. Okay, L, staff reports, updates, monthly financial report. Ronnie?
All right. Looking at the general fund year-to-date, we're 482,000 net income. That's driven by a net help of lower expenses in finance, IT, community development, street and sanitation, and offset slightly by higher expenses in fire, rescue, and capital purchases. The revenues are higher in taxes, other taxes, fees, business licenses, and other revenues, and those are offset slightly with garbage collections, and that's a 72.1 of budget. So with us being 9 months into the year, in a perfect world, all these percentages would be at 75, so that's what I'm comparing back to. When you talk about the revenues, once again, some of the revenues are earned, once or twice a year, and some of them will earn ratably over the year. So we still have some timing differences going on in those areas. The personal property tax revenue, that was a permanent adjustment made early in the beginning of the fiscal year. The capital expenditures, those were from the unrestricted fund balance that were basically ARPA offsets, and those are permanent differences. And then expenses at this point, we've been talking about the expenses being timing, permanent. I think at this point, we are starting to see some permanent favorable differences to the budget. Jason and I are going to, with the next council meeting, we're going to bring to you a summary of all those differences plus or minus, and we're gonna, potentially propose some budget amendments that we would ask for approval on. So we'll do that once we have April's results in June. For the water fund, we're 118,000 net income year-to-date. The year-to-date net income is primarily results from lower revenues, and that's a hurt of 62.8% of budget. And then it's offset with the help of 72.6 of lower expenses. So the lower expenses is actually contributing to that little bit of income that we're seeing there. The revenues, they're a permanent difference. The expenses, once again, permanent/timing, and we'll bring that to you guys for further discussion next month. On the sewer, we have 196,000 net income year-to-date. Similar story as the water. We have lower revenues hurt of 63.2% of budget, and this is offset by a help of 72.6% of budget on the expenses. In this case, the revenues are permanent differences, and the expenses permanent/timing. Once again, with a discussion for further refinement of that. When you look at the water sewer line maintenance, it has no offsetting revenue stream, so it's showing like a net loss of $288,000. But in real terms, we're really at 60.7% of budget, which would be a help. However, given that, and we've talked about this, that all their infrastructure is primarily underground, we don't really want to take, I think, any of those helps in our future discussions. I think we'll continue to attribute that to just timing. The electric fund is 251,000 net loss year-to-date. From an expense standpoint, they're on budget, but from a revenue standpoint, we have a hurt of 71.2%. Compared to budget. And then we had a capital purchase similar situation. It was unrestricted funds using the ARPA offset. So then year-to-date, all funds, 258,000 net income. And that is all I had on the summary income statement. Of course, I have all the accounts that follow. If you have any questions on the detail, or if you have any questions on the summary, I'm happy to answer those now.
Any questions from council for Ronnie?
What was the capital purchase on the electric?
The chipper, the Intimidator, it was a chipper we got earlier in the year.
Is that all we bought for the electric?
I believe that is all that's been purchased in the electric at this point in time. There's not been any new vehicles or anything else, just the chipper was purchased for them.
Thank you, Rick. Any other questions from members of council?
Okay, well, we'll move on to the reserves, the like And
Give us the page, Ronnie.
Huh? Well, you got 20 pages of detailed income statements, so after page 20, we start on the reserves.
Okay, thank you.
Just so happened to be that we stapled them together. Let me know when you get to that point. The first one is the general fund. Okay. General fund, unreserved cash balance was $4.4 million. That is a $244,000 decrease from February. As far as the projected balance, it's still running about a $2.1 million, so no change from February on the general fund. The water department fund, unreserved cash balance is $1.2 million. That was a $34,000 decrease from February. And then on the projected balance, $825,000, that was a $25,000 decrease from February. The next one is the sewer unreserved cash balance is a $1.5 million negative. That was a $1,000 increase from February. And this one adjustment that we've been carrying, we'll get that fixed once we book the final audit adjustments, now that we've got the audit adjustments and final statements. So That should go away by the end of the fiscal year, once we get all those entries booked into Logix. And the projected balance is the 898,000 negative. That was no change from February. And then the last one is the electric department. Unreserved cash balance is about $3.2 million. That was a $149,000 decrease from February. And the 154,000 projected, there was no change from February. And that's all I have on the reserve balances and the financial review for March. So if there's any questions or...
Members of council, questions for Ronnie?
I have a question, and I actually had it marked to ask you guys earlier, and when you said sewer, it made me think of it. Why are we still paying Thompson and Litton? Are we not finished with that?
That was brought to my attention earlier. I'm going to investigate on that. I'm not sure. That's a little bit of investigative auditing that I need to do to be able to see how much has been paid and what remains to be paid.
Okay.
I will have that updated. I will try to have that for us at the May 28th meeting for budget. If not, I'll have it for the June meeting.
Okay.
I think there's been some smaller charges on them running those ads and stuff like that.
It was $24,000.
Yeah.
So I'll go back and double check that and have an account for everyone, either at the May meeting or at the June meeting.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ronnie or Jason? All right, we shall move forward. We're on attorney report.
I think I've spoken enough tonight. I don't have anything to report on.
Thank you, Mike. Now we're on town manager report.
So I'll try to run through this relatively quickly. I just want to convey both to council and to the citizens my disappointment on Saturday not to be able to have the movie. We had multiple conversations happening during the day. And unfortunately, I joked with Mr. Shepherd when we first put the grass in that now that we put sod in, we won't have rain for 3 weeks. And then when we move to actually try to install a fence, it means it'll rain nonstop for 3 weeks. And that seems to be what it's doing. We are going to have a follow-up on that. Again, we've looked for the past 2 days at some of the community calendars. Prom is this weekend. Memorial Day is next weekend. The weekend after that is, I think there's one or two other things that are going on, forgive me. So we're looking at June 15th as the next date. That should give us enough time, hopefully, to get the fence completed, to allow the sod a little bit more time to get fully rooted into that and ready to go. So we will be having Toy Story on June the 15th. We'll be getting that information out to everybody at that time. Given the fact that it is Memorial Day in 2 weeks, we are opening the pool. I went by today and went and looked at it. It is filled up. We've got things are moving very, very well. We're getting the picnic tables and everything else out. Again, our goal is that this is going to be our last summer with this pool. We have had our first meeting to pull together to start looking at the pool / splash pad construction in the fall and winter of this coming year. I also wanted to make you aware we have completed the deed transfer for the small piece of property, the 3 acres of land out by the mall. And in anticipation of that, I completed a transportation alternatives program grant with the VDOT to be able to look at the swinging bridge that is attached to that. And I'm happy to alert you that we were notified on Thursday that we've been accepted into that program. What that will do, will it allow us as a team, both myself and members of my other team, to be able to go through the process and get to construction documents. And then to allow us to then apply for the VDOT 6-year funding to be able to replace that bridge. We are in the process of looking at trying to activate that part of the town. We have River Road that comes through there, looking at side-by-sides and walking trails and other things that are going to take place in that area. This would allow us to connect that section of town to the mall. They would be able to go over to IGA, to grants, to be able to purchase any other economic development projects that we have out there. So that's free. They are going to probably give us, I would say, the better part of $50,000 to $75,000 worth of consultant work for this to be able to get to engineered construction documents for this. So we're really excited about that process. We have the governor's visit is coming back to Richlands. This is a great thing. We are in the process of looking at expansion at our water treatment facility. The salmon farm is moving forward. We see construction getting ready to start taking place, and we've been alerted that we believe that they will need even more water than the original 400,000. In anticipation of that, that means that I'll have to go back into the river, and I'll have to go and play nice with DEQ. And so we want to go ahead and have conversations with the governor around this, because we're not a municipal water plant in its traditional form. When I've worked in other municipalities, they provide water for their proper city, and then the county is on their own. We provide water to the town of Richlands, to the town of Cedar Bluff, to many of our companion citizens that live both in Raven and Durand. We've provided to Buchanan County, to Russell County, and to Tazewell County. We are a regional water plant. The Project Salmon is looking to bring 200 to 300 jobs. We expect that those jobs will be in this area and will be drinking town of Richlands water that just received a gold certification from the Rural Water Drinking Academy. That's where we're looking at. So we're trying to bring the governor in to be able to talk through that expansion, because I will have to play nice with DEQ probably for 12 to 24 months to be able to get that permitting process, because I'll have to go back out into the middle of the river, not the side. And so we're meeting with the governor to walk him through that process. We're excited to be able to do that. I'm also meeting with the Commerce Secretary for a luncheon on Monday as well. So we're trying to get state officials out into Southwest Virginia to be able to see the good things that we're doing here in the town of Richlands. Paving update. As many of you may have seen last week, the week before last, we got a very large drainage ditch redone. It had both a water line that ran through the drainage ditch and a sewer line that was built over top of it. So we got that done. It was not a wonder once we got to look at it why it wasn't draining, but we got that fixed. You'll also notice we've done some utility cuts over on Virginia. We are in the process of getting ourselves ready to be able to do the paving. I want to pave once, and then I don't want to pave again. And so we are looking to be able to shoulder that road here this week. And we are looking in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We are working through timing right now with our paving contractor to be able to get this done. We expect that hopefully by the end of May that we have paved both Kent's and Virginia Road, have gotten all the utility cuts done, have gotten the road shouldered, and have everything ready to go on that. Lastly, and Ms. Galloway was here, I think she's still here. We are partnering again with the library on the Japanese drummers are coming and going to use the stage area on June the 20th at 3:30. And so we are not just programming movies, we're looking at bringing music. I'm trying to find somebody to teach yoga or Zumba or jazzercise or other things to take place over there. We want to utilize that space. It's a green space in the middle of our downtown. We want that to be utilized. So we were trying to get additional programming to be able to happen up there. The last thing, and this is not on your list, and Mr. Keith is with us this evening, and I wanted to defer to him. We have applied for, and in the budget conversations, we talked about a smoke detector grant, and we've received that grant. And so I wanted Mr. Keith to be able to come this evening and speak about that smoke detector grant and what that's going to be able to allow him and his team to be able to do. Mr. Keith?
One is from what we're going to put on the website, and the other one is actually the award grant from Department of Fire Programs. And then we'll go over the guidelines of what we've got to do and how this is going to take place throughout the area. And thank you, Randy. Hopefully we'll have these in hand by Friday, no later than Saturday of this week. I've got to meet the gentleman from the Department of Fire Programs in Withville either Friday evening or first thing Saturday morning. They will not ship these to us. we've actually got to go to them. This, the top letter that I gave you, that is what we put on our website. Matt's gonna put on the fire and rescue website as well. Like I said, back in March when we spoke up at Tazewell, that we did put in for this on February the 7th, was actually when it was, put in, May the 1st, we got the award grant. There's a few departments in our area, City of Bristol is one of them that got this same grant. And what happens is, they will give us 30 smoke alarms. Our members actually have to install them. And as we install them, we take a picture of a QR code. It goes back to Department of Fire Programs and shows them what address it's put on and so forth. The criteria is, if any citizen in town of Richlands area needs a working smoke alarm, this is where it would come in. They could contact, and I think I've got on here, Richlands Fire Rescue will be installing free smoke alarms in the community for the households in need. Our efforts will undoubtedly work to save lives and protect the community from fire, dangers of fire. They can contact the fire rescue at Station 1 or Station 2, and also by contacting the town hall. If you all could put a list together, if somebody was to call in that needs one, contact number, name, and address is really all we would have to have. Once we get these in hand, we'll be able to start administering. We have 1 year, but I don't think 30 fire or smoke alarms will last us a whole year. So that's good news from them. It's I think the last time we done this was probably in 96 or 97. That's when the E911 just had started in the county, and it was that campaign was Get Virginia Alarmed, but this campaign here works solely with Department of Fire Programs as well, and the town of Richlands.
And this is an example. Again, we are, as a team, seeking out, finding grants, bringing grant money into this town. You can see that at the stage. You can see that at the alternative program for the bridge. That we are actively looking and trying to bring grant money in. Every dollar that we bring in from either the federal or the state government is money that we do not have to ask citizens for. That is what our goal is. And again, this is a great program where we're going to be able to have our firefighters go out and be able to install smoke alarms. It breaks my heart to drive through some of Southwest Virginia and see some of the buildings that are burnt out and obviously did not have smoke alarms in it. So thank you to Interim Chief Keith and the rest of the team for getting
Rudy,
that.
thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that's a huge deal because I talked about the fire department grants previously, and it's been a while since we've had as much activity with the fire department as we've had since you've taken over. The litter pickup you guys just did, the raffles that you're doing, the fundraising that you're doing, the grants that you're getting. I am very impressed and proud of the fire department.
Well, and it is working. I did forget to mention the trash Saturday. We met with the Tazewell County Sheriff's Department and RPD from Masonic Lodge to Gray's Branch is what we've really done. We with the conjunction with everybody else, we picked up 101 bags of trash. That was from 9 to 1. At 1 o'clock p.m., they was good. They was going to lunch, so they could finish from the top of Matney Hill to the red light, and they picked up another 24 bags. So all in total, 125 bags of trash was picked up on Kent Ridge Road.
Wow.
So that was, I mean, they was 7 members, 6 members out there, and actually my wife, I conned her in, and she was with us as well. So quality time or quantity time, it's whichever way. But it was a good day. We had enjoyed it. You know, not picking up trash is fun, but we all made light of it and had a great day out there.
Rudy, I think that's great. Thank you very much, making the
Yes.
town much better. Okay, Jason, anything else?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, we have council member reports. Laura?
Well, when we came in today, I had a citizen point out that half of the council packet online is upside down and asked me to mention that if we could fix it. They can't read it. Another thing was I told a citizen I would bring up benches at the park. He actually brought the idea that like he himself would sponsor one if he could put like a little plaque on it to honor a veteran or something. So that's something we can consider and talk with Mr. Cox about in the rec department. Also, another citizen idea that I love and is probably going to get a couple giggles considering what a fight this was before, but putting quarter duck feeders at Critterville. People are feeding the ducks anyway. I do it. Don't tell Chief Holt. Oh, Matt, don't rat me out. And usually it's bread, but she brought up the idea of not at like private property or anything, but at Critterville to get a couple of those machines that you stick a quarter in. It gives you duck food. It will be fun for people. We could supplement the food with the quarters we're getting. And the last thing, this is National Police Week, and I'm super proud of the police department. Same situation that I talked about with the fire department. Every step you guys take forward with stuff like that is not only making the town better, but it's instilling morale in the citizens too. And that's going to be a trickle-down effect for the entire town. Tomorrow during Police Week is National Peace Officers Day to honor officers who have died in the line of duty. And my great-grandfather, Officer Lorenzi Floyd Rands McLaughlin, worked for the Tazewell County Sheriff's Office. And he passed away due to gunfire, shot and killed January 13th, 1934. He was a sheriff's office deputy, but he was stationed in the town of Richlands, was confronting a criminal. They exchanged fire, and my great-grandfather died in that. So I just wanted to point that out and to thank the police officers. And tomorrow, I think you'll talk about an event tomorrow. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, Jan?
The only thing that I had was we continue to get questions about when's the paving started. So, do you have a date?
Unfortunately, not at this time. We're calling them almost daily at this point in time. Yeah. We're at that point where we're trying to catch that moment where they get finished with the larger VDOT project to be able to come over. So as soon as we get a date, it will be on Facebook, on the town page. I will blast that out to anybody and everybody because I know that you're getting questions, so are we.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Jan. Jordan?
Awesome. I'm also getting eaten alive about the paving, so we've already addressed that. I'll leave it there. I wanted to ask about, in terms of our RFPs, are those marketed pretty well? I've had people ask, like, how could they bid on an RFP or reach out about that? If they go to our website, that's what I've been telling them.
Yeah, so we are on the website. We did get our EVA page up and ready to go.
Okay.
So we are working through that right now. But the website is going to be the best place to be able to take advantage of that. We are in the process of looking at updating our website to make it a little bit more user-friendly.
Awesome.
But until then, the town's website is probably the best place to be able to keep an eye on.
Okay. And anybody, obviously bearing qualifications can?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as you're qualified, again, we would welcome any and all proposals.
Awesome. Also wanted to give a huge shout out to the electrical department in town of Richlands for helping out with RHS Project Grad banners. Big help. Thank you all so much. Leave it there. I also had a few citizens reach out to me about crosswalks and sidewalks. I told them that was in the budget. I believe it's been a few days since I've looked, but around $125,000 is budgeted for maintenance on that. How much of that is going to sidewalks? Do we have an allotted amount, or is it just as needed?
It's as needed. I will tell you, this is one of the things that my team and I are working on right now. So with the closing up of the Greenway stage, and getting that done, that will get us back to being eligible for another CPROP grant with the Cumberland Planning District. We're looking at that in conjunction with 2-3 other grants to be able to stack those together to be able to do some pedestrian work downtown.
Okay.
To be able to look at both the decorative crosswalks to go across there with the red bricks, it makes it a little bit more visible. The national, I can't remember the name of the group, but there's a planning organization that shows statistically that reduces pedestrian fatalities and injuries. But we also want to look at, there are certain sections within our downtown that we know going from where the library is to where the stage is. There are RRFD RPDs. They're rapid, I'll forget what the acronym is, but they are the pieces that you can push the button and it lights up to tell the
Across.
drivers that they're
Yep.
doing, so they can go across there. We're looking at doing that in conjunction with the VDOT road diet to be able to focus on pedestrian crossings and downtown beautification. That's where we're looking to be able to pull about 3 or 4 grants and get hopefully about $100,000 to $150,000 together to be able to do that. The crosswalks are expensive. And to be able to set that up and to be able to do pedestrian crossings. That's anticipation of us looking at the CDBG grant for next year to be able to start doing the facade improvements. We also are looking at wayfinding as well as we add additional assets. We're going to have a rec park splash pad. We're going to have a new fire station. We're going to have a number of new assets. We've got a CNX headquarters that's going to be downtown. We want to be able to, as we look to bring more tourists into area, we want to make sure that they know how to be able to get around town. So that's one of the things we're looking at is pedestrian, the crosswalks, the rapid fire, and then also to be able to look at the wayfinding. We figure about $100,000 to $150,000 should easily be able to cover all of that and to be able to look at some additional things as well.
Awesome. The only other thing I have on that note is, would it be possible for us to make a post about just being cognizant of pedestrians? We shared one last year, I believe, and then I think Abingdon shared one about a month ago, just to remind people, hey, yield, be on the lookout.
We will get that out.
And the last thing I have, I think we already hit on this, but the pool at the rec park's open on Memorial Day, and the design process has started. If you have any ideas, let us know. I'm personally in favor of a water slide, but we'll see how that goes.
Thank you. Anything else, Jason? Jordan?
Nope,
Sorry.
nope, I'm good.
Got too many Jasons in my mind. Okay. Rick?
Okay, the things that I've been called about, I've just been pushing them over to Jason when it happens, because if I don't, I forget. And I'm sorry, but I do. And the next thing I want to talk about is I want to thank the council. We have actually started working together. Things are moving a whole lot smoother. We're actually starting to get things done. Governmental takes a little bit of time to just, you can't just say it and it's done tomorrow. It don't happen. But good things are coming to Richlands, and we're taking the steps right now to take us into the future. And that's the big picture that we all need to be setting and looking at. And other than that, I thank each and every one of you for serving and what you do. Thank y'all.
Rick, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Anything else? Okay. Gary?
Yes, I first want to say I agree with Laura, whoever brought that out about the benches at the Greenway. You know, maybe somebody even, they can call in and reserve a seat on it or something, those that can't bring chairs or whatever, but it is a good idea. Paving, we done went through that. Update on Oriole Street Bridge.
I spoke to the company today. They have done the measuring for it. They've talked to their fabricators. They are looking at middle of July to be able to have the bridge on site. So I am looking at this point in time, into July, we should be able to hope to drive across that bridge.
Good deal. And the only other one I've had questions I wasn't aware of, maybe y'all was, the bridge on Maple Lane. What happened there?
So we were made aware of it. It's the beauty of this area is that there seems to be endangered species in just about everything that floats. And so in that stream, there's an endangered, I think it's got a minnow or something or else that's there. When they did that culvert, it looks like there's a culvert piece that's flailed up. I'm not sure if it's from flooding, rock hit it, something.
Yeah.
There's water that's getting up behind that culvert, and what it's doing is it's just eroding that concrete. So what we are looking at right now is trying to dig it out a little bit where it was. We just put rock back there for right now just to make sure that it was stable. But we're looking at pulling that back out, going back in with concrete, and then trying to ding that culvert back into place to be able to get that right. This does highlight, though, one of the, as I spoke earlier, the National League of Cities boot camp that we're looking at. There's what are called off-system bridges, and that's what this is. So it's neither on U.S. DOT's list, on Virginia's DOT list. It's our bridge.
Your bridge.
We own that bridge, and we'll have to pay to replace it. We will not be able to use VDOT funding for that. What I'm looking at this point in time is trying to get off-system bridge work, because get grants for it. I'm looking at, there's a grant that closes, that NOFA that should open in August and should close in November. There's about 2 or 3 bridges that are of that same time frame.
Right.
That are of the same condition. And the problem with those is that if that bridge goes out, everybody who lives on that side of Maple Lane is stuck.
Stuck, yeah.
And it floods, and that's a problem. So we feel like we're good candidates for this. But again, to Rick's point, this is where, unfortunately, it's going to take us time to be able to write that grant, to be able to go through that. But if we're successful in this, we should be able to replace at least 3 more bridges that are in the area, a lot of them over in Lake Park area, and be able to get those replaced. That will make sure that in a state of evacuation, they'll be able to evacuate. And if we do this correct, nobody on either this council or in my role will have to talk about these bridges probably for about 50 years. So that's what we're trying to be able to get
Right.
that done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else?
That's all.
Seth?
First, I just want to apologize for being late today. I've got a senior, and today could have been the last baseball game. A district tournament started, and we won, so we get to play again. And that'll get us a seat in the regions, too. But we play again on Thursday. But anyway, that's why I wasn't here. And, I love the town, and I love helping here, but I didn't want to take a chance on maybe missing this last baseball game. Secondly, I want to thank, I see Rudy Keith and Matt are both back here, and I just wanted to say thank you. A couple weeks ago, I had a fire at an apartment building in Cedar Bluff, on the outskirts of Cedar Bluff. And I think sometimes even I forget how much area that our fire department covers. And so when I got to the scene, Matt was running the scene there. And, those guys from Cedar Bluff were there, and I appreciate all of them as well. But, they look to these guys for leadership. And I appreciated them handling everything. They did a great job. They got the fire put out quickly and limited the damage to, as small as it could be. But they did an excellent job. And I just wanted to share that story because just like he was talking about the smoke detectors, thankfully everybody was able to get out of the building and all that. But there are times when there are people who don't have those, and this was during the day. But what if it's at night when something like that happens and you don't wake up? So that is very important, and I just wanted to say thank you again, and I really appreciate everything that they're doing. Just reiterating some of the things that everyone else is up here has said, but so many times I think that it's easy to be someone who just complains or says, look at our town, it's not doing good. But, I want to tell you, I really think Richlands is in the best place that it's ever been in. We're in this growth phase right now, where a lot of exciting things are happening. It's weekly, daily, sometimes that I get text messages, phone calls of people just how excited they are that we're redoing the building out there, and all these good things are happening in town. And I get to hear all these good stories about people who used to work in the professional building, their grandmothers cleaned it. I've heard tons of stories, which is great. But just for what it's doing for this town, and I'm so excited about the CDBG project next year and the facade grants, and it's something we've been trying to get done here for the last several years. But I'm excited because I think that always spurs interest in downtown, and the more things and the more that we can do. I've heard we've got a few new restaurants opening. Some of us went to a bakery that opened down here. Listen, you may hear all the negative things, this business went out or whatever, but there's so many good things happening in Richlands right now. And just like Rick said, everybody's doing a great job. I see you all at these ribbon cuttings and openings, and, we're all working together well. It's not mean that everybody up here is going to agree on everything. I mean, I venture to say that that's probably never going to happen. We all have our own opinions and ideas, but I think that we have a good group on this council of people who want to see Richlands move forward. And I think Jason and his team are doing an excellent job as well. And I just really appreciate you guys. That's all, Mayor. That's all I got. Oh, wait, one thing. Yeah, I forgot. Yes. So just once before I served on council as a fill-in, and I was just shocked because I was like, can I make a motion, to suspend the reading? They're like, you can't. And I said, why? Because somebody put that in our charter that you have to read these things. And I don't think that, maybe when that was written, that it was probably as extensive as it is now. So what I was, whatever we need to do, and if it's a charter change and we have to get it approved by the General Assembly, that probably isn't going to happen this year, but we could go ahead and begin the process so that that can get passed next January, February, whenever they're in session. And if we can do that, whatever you need from us, if you'll just research it, let us know. Whatever votes you need us to take, we'll do that here. And again, it's not to hide anything from anyone. It's just to make our meetings go more efficiently. And, we've had ordinances, and Mayor can tell you, that are 7 or 8 pages before, and we all took turns reading because it's just too much. So this is a way for us to not have to do that anymore. Whatever we need to do, we're all in. So.
Thank you, sir.
I would just say, if everybody would want to sit down with the charter and just look over, if there's any changes, since it is such a task to change it, if there's any changes anybody wants, present that. Of course, it's going to be a council decision, but if we're going to change the charter for anything, let's change everything we want to change so we can do it in one sweep.
Thank you.
I've got one other
Seth,
question.
anything else for you?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
Jason, Front Street Bridge, was we gonna talk about that?
I'm bringing that back in June. I need to get a couple of things in order, but I'm going to bring that back. We've got to make a decision on that soon.
I noticed that some of those boards are really popped up.
We're going to try to get somebody over there to be able to nail those down. I walk that bridge very tentatively on a regular basis, and so I will make sure we get that taken care of. Thank you.
I do hear a lot how often you are out in town and how easily accessible you are to people. And also the department heads, Chief Holt, Mr. Keith, I hear that quite a bit, that people are able to talk to the town administration. And that, for me, that means a lot to me, because it was hard for me to do that as a citizen. And I appreciate you guys doing that.
Thank you.
Council, any other comments before we go ahead?
Ruby, do you think 30 fire smoke detectors are efficient for what you're getting ready to do?
Well, and I had talked to Mr. May about this. We've got money left over in our fire prevention budget. I just purchased a bunch of stuff for fire prevention for the schools. And the plan is to go to Lowe's this week or next week and purchase probably 50 more smoke alarms and 25 more carbon monoxide detectors.
So you got money left in this year's
Yes,
budget to
yes,
do
sir.
that? Okay. I just wanted to make sure if we got to the point where we need them, I mean, either if it's personal or council, we will help.
Yeah, Lowe's usually helps us every year. We buy probably 25 a year. And I was telling Mr. May the other day, we actually had a call on Virginia Avenue, electrical fire one evening. And the lady, so short story was the electrical box was smoking, so we isolated everything and turned it off. Well, when we done that, we turned her heat off. So she had a propane heater is what she planned on heating with, and we sent 2 guys back to the station to get a smoke alarm and a carbon monoxide because she had neither one worked that she had. So we replaced both of those. I think Matt was with us on scene, and the electrical department come out. So we felt comfortable after we left that she had both working, and we was just over there Monday morning again for a different related call, and both of them was working. So we did put 2 in play at that residence that evening.
If I could just add to that again, this is where I've had a couple of you and many citizens ask me about a money tree that I seem to have found, and I don't have a money tree. What I do have is I have a team that is working together. So what you've just heard Interim Chief Keith speak about is that the electric department went over to double check it. The rescue department was helping the fire department, and the police department was also involved in that as well. Again, when we did our drainage work over on Kent's Ridge, I had the water distribution team working, the public works team working, the electric team working, literally had the electric team holding a pole while the distribution team was lifting a water line so that the other team could lift the drainage out. That's teamwork. That's how we get things done.
We good, sir?
Right, I just wanted to make sure that you had what you needed.
Yes, that's our plan.
I don't want to be short. I don't want to short nobody.
Well, and I agree with the same thing, Rick. That's the reason we was awarded this on May the 1st, and I think we had spoke about it on May the 2nd, but we wanted to let everybody in the area know before we blitzed it on Facebook or the webpage. But that was our plan then, and it's not gonna change today.
So Rudy, you got 30? Is that what you
We've got
said?
30 through the state, but we plan on buying 50 more through the end of the budget, what we have
Cool.
for now, so.
And these
you
can
know,
be
we
in
usually-
private homes?
Yeah, we usually buy 20 a year, and I
Mhm.
think there's 4 or 5 left over there, so. But when the need gets out there and the word gets out that we're doing this, I see that those numbers are probably going to increase, if not double. So, I mean, and you was right, Seth. We spoke about it out in the hall. I seen some crazy things on that call. But it all takes every one of us. It all takes every one of us at the end of the day to make sure the citizens are safe and we're safe at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Clayton, are those AC/DCs?
No, it's just a standard battery.
Just battery?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I think they're 10-year batteries, just like all the new ones coming out now. So, but hopefully, next year we'll put in for it again. It's got a deadline into February, so I'd like to see the number increase from 30, but we'll just have to wait and see what rolls out through Department of Fire program.
I've got another question. Okay, since we're using batteries on this, do we have if somebody don't know if theirs working or not, can we do something to put it out there that they can call in and y'all can check the battery or replace the unit? I think that would be helpful too, because a lot of people has fire smoke detectors hanging on the wall and the battery's been dead in it for years, and if it doesn't work, I mean, that's more dangerous, because you're going to bed thinking in your head that's working.
You're protected, and you're not.
Then it doesn't work.
Right, that's a
So,
false sense of security, yes, sir.
maybe that's something we can do with this, is check
Yep.
some, random checks too.
And Susan may be able to add that when she places that on the website for us.
The other thing I would add is that in the budget, you have a 50% funded firefighter. And so that is the other thing that said firefighter can start doing, both in when daylight savings time changes, both in the fall and in the spring. That's when you're usually doing that.
Yes.
We can make sure that we get post out and blast out to be able to check that, and that either our firefighter or our volunteers will check as well.
And you're doing a wonderful job.
Well, thank you. Well, I got a good crew of men. It's not just me.
That's what it takes. It takes
Thank you, Rudy, very much. Thank you. Anybody else with questions? before we
Also,
move
the
on?
street department, when I said everybody that was out and accessible, I could not have pointed, 3 years ago, couldn't have pointed the street department out if you paid me. And now every time I go out in town, they are doing something somewhere. I came off this exit not too long ago, and they were lining the streets, mowing, weed eating. I came down here, and they're painting the mural, putting new glass, whatever, on Seth's building. Rick's putting a sign up out there. The police department's got a new roof. And, I mean, I literally cried in my car, and I said it just feels like Richlands is alive again. And it's every employee. I told everybody we've got probably the best department heads that I've ever seen in Richlands. And didn't want to leave them out.
Thank you, Laura. Anybody else? Any further comments, thoughts? Okay, moving on to Mayor's comments. I'll follow up with a few thoughts here. You mentioned yoga. Jason, a good many years ago when I had my store, I had yoga classes in my store in the evening, and I worked through the college, and so that people would come and get credit for a yoga class, and I'll hook you up. Obviously, there's an intent to market in there, but it works both ways. Next, crosswalks. I remember when the park at Lake Park, Fit for Life Park, was being renovated or built, whatever, there were supposed to be, I think, crosswalks across Lake Park Drive headed to that. And I know it was a part of the grant that Appalachian Agency received. And I can't speak to it definitively, but you could ask Appalachian Agency. That was a part of their grant that we would put in painted crosswalks. So if that hasn't been done as part of grant fulfillment, I would check on that, please.
I would double check on that.
Thank you. The next thing, burned out houses. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of them in Richlands, and I can think of several, but I hope that we can move forward in trying to eliminate this blight as best we can. It's unsightly, and it doesn't do anything for the town nor whoever owns the property. A lot of these things I understand from previous times have been tied up in airships, and it's very difficult. But I can think of several, but it'd be a laundry list right now, and I don't think we have time for it, but I want to mention that. The other thing that people mentioned were benches for the Greenway Park. If you remember at the section house, there's a bench there, and we set it in, it's in concrete. The Lions Club gave it to us. I think it's the Lions Club, maybe wrong. And they gave two. And the other one is intended for what we used to call the Greenway, whatever, it doesn't matter, Greenway Park. And I think it is still in the storage building behind the section house. So that is something that is a gift from a civic group to the town. And they gave us one, and until the Greenway was completed, the town stored it in the storage building behind us. You might check on that too. It has their logo on it, but they gave it, and they deserve the credit. The other things that I'd like to mention, we'll be coming up on some things here. We'll talk about an executive session. But Memorial Day is coming up. It's a sacred weekend. Sure, we want to get out, and I have fun too, grilling hot dogs and hamburgers and things like that. But we want to remember those who gave their lives. It's in memory of those who gave their lives for our country. And there are many ways to celebrate it, and maybe we can work on that in the future here to honor those people. We have done it in the past. I don't know what the plans are right now. We have, I know that Laura and Jan didn't mention it, but the Freedom Festival is coming up the last of June. I think it's the 29th, and it promises to be an exciting time. And I know, for example, at the section house, we're working on having a coordinating event for the Freedom Festival. And all over town, I'm sure these events will be happening. And so I want us to remember these things that are coming about, and the positives are really there. I believe you said 15th of June is our scheduled movie. Will that be Toy Story moving forward? Okay. And I'm glad we talked about benches. There are people such as myself who don't really enjoy getting down on a blanket anymore. So I'm just telling you thank you for understanding. We all count, all means all, and that's important to remember. And so I appreciate that. And I still want to suggest we have a showing of the birds there, Alfred Hitchcock's, because they are plentiful, and I could imagine how terrifying that would be. And I like that kind of thing. Now, the next thing, thank you all for serving this town. It is not easy sometimes to be in public service. It's not about getting public thanks. It really isn't. It's about what you feel for yourself, and the greatest award is given to you by the people in this town that support you. That's the reward. It isn't your name in lights. It isn't getting a building named for you or a street named after you. I've been on that too, where I could have had, I said, no, I don't want it. Because that's just me. I don't believe in that. That's all well and good, but I'm just telling you, thank you for serving. Thank you for serving. We are making progress, and it is positive, and I think if we focus on that, we'll be walking on the sunny side. Thank you. Moving along. Whoa. Hold on. Laura had sent me this to mention, and I do want to mention it. The Richlands Police Department had posted by Ron Holt, today begins a week of honoring and remembering those that gave the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, which is what Laura was referring to about her grandfather, great-grandfather. Please join us in praying for the families of those who have paid that price so that we may live in peace and safety in our communities. We will have a brief wreath-laying ceremony Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. with Senator Travis Hackworth providing a few words and a prayer for our law enforcement community. All local leaders and citizens are welcome to attend. National Police Week, a legacy of honor. And I think that is so important. And if I were free, I would definitely be there, but I am working. I'm in the school world right now. So, Seth, you mentioned the ribbon cuttings and the various things. I'm so glad those things are happening. It shows that we're on a growth, and we will gain. You may lose one, but you'll gain some. It's the nature of people. Nothing is forever. Thank you. Let's go on to item Q, executive closed session. Consult with legal counsel on 2.2-3711A8 Iron Street property. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Gary makes the motion and Laura makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion? There being no discussion, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Okay, Seth?
Yes.
Gary? Rick?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
and Laura?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Council, we will go into our conference room. Thank you. This meeting is back in session. Is there a motion to come into open session, please?
So moved.
Laura makes the motion. Who has a second?
I do.
Rick has a second. To come into open session, we were in closed session to discuss, have legal consultation on 2.2-3711A8 Iron Street property. There's a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion on this motion? There being no discussion, roll call vote. Seth?
Yes.
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 It is unanimous. Now, is there a motion to certify that nothing was talked about, discussed in our meeting, other than Code Section 2.2-3711A8 Iron Street property?
So
Yes.
moved.
Laura makes the motion. Who makes the second?
I'll second it.
And Mr. Rick has a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Roll call vote. Seth?
Yes.
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 The motion carries. It is unanimous. Thank you, council. That sounded like Do Re Mi, the sound of music. Thank you. Didn't you catch it?
Singing for long.
Didn't you get it? We're on the air. It's okay. Did you get it? Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Si Do? Thank you. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Laura makes the motion and Seth seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
You'll be staying here by yourself
I'm going.
if you oppose it.
Thank you all very much.